All right, we are Jason and Sarah Hull, the owners of DoorGrow, the world's leading and most comprehensive coaching and consulting firm for long-term residential property management entrepreneurs. For over a decade and a half, we have brought innovative strategies and optimization to the property management industry. At DoorGrow, we have spoken to thousands of property management business owners, coached, consulted, and cleaned up hundreds of businesses, helping them add doors, improve pricing, increase profits, simplify operations, and build and replace teams. We are like bar rescue for property managers. In fact, we have cleaned up and rebranded over 300 businesses, and we run the leading property management mastermind with more video testimonials and reviews than any other coach or consultant in the industry. At DoorGrow, we believe that good property managers can change the world and that property management is the ultimate high trust gateway to real estate deals, relationships, and residual income. At DoorGrow, we are on a mission to transform property management business owners and their businesses. We want to transform the industry, eliminate the BS, build awareness, change perception, expand the market, and help the best property management entrepreneurs win. Now, let's get into the show. Okay, so we just recently got back from Mexico. We got back from Mexico, and we had a good trip there. So what did we go to Mexico to do?
We actually went to Mastermind in Paradise, which was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. It was actually better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was really cool. We got to connect and network with a lot of really cool people. And one of the key speakers that we got to do a private session with a small group was Dr. Benjamin Hardy. So Ben Hardy has written some amazing books. 10X is easier than 2X, The Gap and the Gain, Who Not How. And we got a preview of two of his upcoming books. One is Time as a Tool, and the other is The Science of Scaling. And everybody's mind were blown at this event. And he shared a different framework for how to look at goals. And so, do you want to explain this?
Why don't you explain it?
Okay.
And then I'll chime in.
Okay. So this was really exciting. So a lot of times we set goals that are realistic, and the challenge with realistic goals that we set usually that are realistic are based on our current level of thinking. Our current level of thinking is the current problem. It's like it's a limited thing. It's our current thoughts and capacity and abilities and ideas. And if we only operate based on our current level of thinking, we don't grow. And so these are crappy goals. These are not effective goals to get us inspired, to get us excited. So I realized I, in some ways, felt really unmotivated because I've had a goal for a while to get to a certain growth level and impact level and revenue level. But it was a linear goal. It was a realistic goal. I was making sure the goal was realistic, that I could see how to do it. And then it just meant more work. Because it was realistic. I was just thinking, this is what I know how to do now, and I just need to do, based on my current level of thinking, more work, like 10 times more work if I want to get 10 times bigger. And that's just such a grind. It's just really draining. So if you felt unmotivated, if you felt uninspired in your business, you're not getting the growth that you want, you're on a bad path currently. Your path is a path based on your current reality, which means you're not thinking differently. And so he talked about how it's important, essential, to have impossible goals. You have to pick a goal that is impossible or unrealistic or unreasonable based on your current level of thinking. And if you pick a goal that is currently impossible or unreasonable, what's amazing is your brain is like a masterful supercomputer. It's like a quantum computer. And your unconscious mind and your subconscious and eventually your conscious mind will come up with ideas, new ways of thinking, if the goal is outside of your current level of thinking. It's currently impossible with your current level of thinking. And so this was where the goal becomes a tool to get you to think differently. And so if you view goals instead of as something you have to hit, or you beat yourself up, or you try to hit because you want something and you try to get yourself really motivated, I think that's a poor way of thinking about the goal. The goal really is a tool to help you to think differently and help you to grow and help you to expand and get into a new mode and new level of thinking. And then he compounded that with talking about time. And you can either make the goal way bigger, because to the point where it becomes impossible, and so you have to start finding new ways of thinking, or you can shift the timeline to take your goals. Like a lot of property managers say, I want to add 100 doors in a year. That's a crappy goal. I mean, it's a realistic goal. It's a decent goal, and we help lots of clients do that. But that's not a really exciting, inspiring goal. But what if you shift the timeline to 90 days? That sounds impossible at first. Like 100 doors in 90 days? And I shared this with some clients just before this call. I was on a call with some clients and suggested this. Some of them were like, my goal is 100 doors, but now, based on what Jason's saying, I'm going to make it a 90-day goal. And then they start thinking of ideas. They start thinking, like, what if I just found 4 real estate agents that have 25 units they're tired of managing? I could hit 100 doors. What if I found one small acquisition deal? What if I found an investor? One of our clients on the call says he has an investor right now that's has like 120 units that he's going to onboard. Another investor with 40 units, and he's just like growing rapidly. Now he's fast on his way to being at 1,000 units. It's going to happen. And so his goal is to get to 3,000. He's now making a bigger goal. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, so you need to have something that's going to stretch you out of your current comfort zone and your current level of thinking. And, but some of the people on the call were like, well, if I shoot for this goal in 90 days and I don't hit it, and I said, well, what if you only got 50 in 90 days? Would you beat yourself up and feel horrible? They laughed and they're like, no. I said, what if you got 25 units in 90 days? Would you beat yourself up and feel horrible? They said, no, of course not. Because their goal was 100 in a year originally. So it's just having a better tool to give you a better path. And the current path that you're on towards a goal that you have, it's not the same path. It has to be a completely different path. It's like trying to fly to Hawaii versus New York. It's a completely different path to get to a much better destination. It's a totally different path. You cannot just 10 times the amount of phone calls that you're going to make, or 10 times the amount of hustle that you're going to do to hit this goal in 90 days, or to hit your 5-year goal in a year, or to, do something 10x bigger or 100 times bigger. You have to find a different path. And so when you get your brain working on that, you will start to find different paths. You will start to connect with others that may be able to put you on a different path. And at DoorGrow, that's one of the things we do for clients is we help them have a bigger vision, and we help give them, we're one of those who's. He talks about finding a who, not a how, and new who's can give you new paths. And this is what we do. We give clients a new path to get to these goals that they weren't able to think of before. So that's my 2 cents on it. So...
I think that's pretty good. And then also when the book comes out, because you can't get it yet. We were lucky enough to preview it.
Yeah.
So when the book comes out, definitely make sure that you read it. It is so fantastic. I don't even have enough good things to say about it. And Dr. Benjamin Hardy, he's phenomenal. And all of his stuff is really good, but he pursues excellence in everything that he does. He doesn't want to just write a book and publish a book. He wants it to be a masterpiece, like an absolute work of art. And that really comes across in his work and hearing him speak. And it was great that we got to be a part of that, really.
Do you remember him talking about the floor? Could you touch on the idea of the floor and how setting a big goal changes the floor?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that you and I have both been really questioning. Yeah. So when he talks about what is your floor, so this is kind of like the minimum that you will allow. What are the lowest level things that you will do? And when you have a goal, like let's just say it is 100 doors in a full year, does that mean that you need to do anything today? No, because you have 364 other days. Yeah. Does that mean on the weekend you have to work?
No,
not really. Does that mean that you have to give up certain things? Not really, because I can probably figure it out. But if you now have a goal of 100 doors in, let's say, 30 days, do you have to do something today?
Probably.
Absolutely. On the weekend? Absolutely. Do you have to sacrifice certain things? Absolutely. Now, is it forever? No. And the things that we need to be able to give up are the things that are now below the floor.
Right.
And all that essentially means is anything that is, I would call it a distraction, anything that is not in alignment with this big, huge goal that you're working on, that now falls below the floor. So you should not be doing that. So if you say, hey, I want 100 doors, I'm going to go do it in 30 days. Does that mean for the next 30 days, you're going to be watching any amount of Netflix?
Probably not.
No, no, it doesn't. Now, forever and ever, Netflix is not gone. It's just gone while you're trying to hit this crazy goal that you've got. And what if your goal isn't even 100 doors in 30 days? What if it's 1,000 doors in 30 days? There are certain things you are not going to be able to focus on at all. There are certain things that you will not be able to fit into your schedule. There are certain things that you will go, wow, if it's at all possible for me to hit this goal, I can't do this thing.
I'm going to have to give it up.
And that might be cooking, it might be cleaning, doing your laundry, washing your car, driving your kids to school, spending time with your family for a small, short period of time. It might be answering phone calls, talking to tenants, writing leases, doing showings, doing accounting if that's not your thing, right? It could be so many different things. Because any of those things that I just mentioned, is that going to get you 1,000 doors in 30 days? No, it sure isn't. So all of those things now, they either become something that gets in your way or something that is a distraction, something that is an obstacle for you to be able to hit this huge goal. It doesn't mean you have to give it up forever, but it does mean that it's now not high enough of a priority for you to continue to do it. And we talk about this a lot on time studies. When we have our clients do time studies, we talk about it through a very different lens. So this is a really great lens to kind of talk about the same topic. But when I look at someone's time study, I always ask them, why are you doing that? Why are you the one who's doing that? Somebody should be doing that. You should offload this. Why is this still on your to-do list? Why are you the one who's doing this again?
Yeah.
And it's always the same thing. Oh, because I feel like I have to. But when you have this huge goal, the thing that you feel like you have to do is hit the goal, not all of this other stuff.
Yeah. Well, when you raise the goal up to a much bigger goal, your floor automatically raises. There's always going to be stuff you finally stop tolerating because you have this big vision. It's exciting. It's inspiring. It's something you actually want. And you're motivated to do it. And so you have to change your level of thinking, which also means you have to give up stuff that you've been holding on to because you didn't really have a good enough excuse to get rid of it anyway. But there's stuff that you have to do. Like I can no longer be taking sales calls from people that no show. So I have my team members canceling a large percentage of my calls. Like we started making a ton of changes. And it took me, I sat with the question, like we closed, I think, 13 deals in the last month.
I think 13 or 14.
14? I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can I do 100? How can I 10x this? If we're doing on average maybe 10 or something, how can I do 100? And I was like, that's impossible. But I sat with it for like a week and a half. And then all of a sudden I had all these ideas. I would have to stop doing this. I would have to stop taking calls like this. I would have to stop doing that. What if every person that showed up to the call, I could have a single call close because they already had clarity on their problem. They already were trained on what they need. They already went over our offer. And so I'm now building that out. And it was like, it's a completely different path than what I was on, which was to 10x our business wasn't a big enough goal. And now I'm trying to 10x it in a month, which would 100x our business, right? And so I had to come up with a completely different path. And what's surprising to me is a lot of the ideas were already in my head. They were things I had seen, videos I had seen, but my brain was not able to put them together to help me achieve a goal because my goal was so weak that it was all very realistic and doable. I just needed to get more salespeople and get more setters and do more lead generation. And I don't have to change anything on the front end. I can just change our internal processes, and I think we could 10x the business. And so I started seeing a different path, and my brain started pulling out different ideas that I'd heard of in the past and piecing them together. And I came up with a whole new set of ideas. And it was just based on, it was stuff that was already in my brain, but it wasn't at my current level of thinking. It was above my current level of thinking. So I raised my goal, and it raised my level of thinking so I could tap into all this other stuff I had in my head. And it also raised the floor. So there's a lot of things I'm cutting out. I am not going to have people no show. I'm canceling people if they don't confirm their appointment. My team are canceling them. And so then they can warm and nurture these people up. But I'm going to be talking to people that are committed, ready to show up, and are already qualified and already know what they need to do. And I have a team that's facilitating that. And so, like, we've made some big moves, big changes, and I'm excited. So now I'm building out all this stuff. I'm building out different things. I'm building out a completely different path. And we've had clients go from 100 to 1,000 doors. We had a client do that in 1 year, because he found a different path, because his path to get to 100 was not the same path he could do to get to 1,000 in a year. He couldn't follow the same path, so he had to come up with something else. And what's surprising is the path for him to get to 1,000 was way easier than what it took him to get to 100. And that's the idea of 10x is easier than 2x. The path I'm setting up for our sales system is easier than me grinding through 100 sales calls in a month. It's going to be way easier, and I can even spend less time on these calls because they're coming more prepared. And so when you have big goals, you have big thinking, you find way better paths, which is the idea. So use either the goal as a tool, make that goal much bigger, or collapse time and use time as a tool, and you will actually speed up time, and it actually gets easier to reach the goal. That's the idea. So we're super pumped. I'm super pumped. I'm like really pumped about the business right now. Like I'm really excited.
I know.
And I'm like, with this, and then I'm really excited because our clients are getting this tech mentally. I'm already training and coaching them on setting up these goals and helping them understand time and goals as a tool. And so they are going to be the most innovative property managers in the industry. That's going to be our group. And so they're going to come up with the best ideas. And so you want to be part of this mastermind. It's going to be the freaking best thing on the planet for property managers. I'm super pumped because nobody else has big, crazy goals like our clients. Like they've already had big goals that outpace anyone else in their markets. Now they're getting ridiculous and unreasonable and impossible. And they're going to find solutions to this. And I'm excited to see what they innovate and share it with everybody else. So stay tuned, y'all. DoorGrow's about to get crazy. So, all right, that's basically it. Let's wrap up. All right. So if you've ever felt stuck or stagnant and you want to take your property management business to the next level, reach out to us at doorgrow.com. Also join our free Facebook community just for property management business owners by going to doorgrowclub.com. And if you found this even a little bit helpful, don't forget to subscribe and please leave us a review. We would really appreciate it. And until next time, remember the slowest path to growth is to do it alone. So let's grow together. Bye, everyone.